Welcome to Tuesdays with MARV, the Medford Arts Resource Vehicle. I'm Sarah Beardsley, co-president of Mackey. MARV is an arts center on wheels, bringing supplies and inspiration to local neighborhoods. In this time of physical distancing, MARV is staying home too, but we want to continue to bring arts programming to Medford and beyond with a series of creative events featuring local artists and their work. We want to thank our funders, including the Medford Arts Council, Arts Alive Medford, the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and members of the Medford Arts Center, Inc. If you are an artist who would like to share your work as part of this series, please email us so we can send you our application form. Thank you for coming and enjoy your time with MARV.
Good morning. This is Wayne Strattman, shooting a film with my assistant Carrie here from Boston at Strattman Design. So we're going to show you a few of the unusual things we're working on or playing on with for potential clients and whatnot, such as right in the front of me here I have all these shapes that aren't connected to anything, but as you can see, they all light up. And let's see, some of them light up very brightly. So these organic, molecular forms here are all excited by a high frequency power supply that is a metal plate under the carpet these things are sitting on, and it's energized with high voltage, high frequency. That's producing a field up here, and the field will light anything that's a piece of glass that's filled with a low pressure inert gas. So I'm just going to walk around and show you a few things, and everything here is glass, everything is filled with gas, and everything's going to light up. So moving over to, this is what's called a Mesmer Tube, and a Mesmer Tube is a tube within a tube, and the inner tube is coated with a phosphor, something that lights up with ultraviolet light, and there's an electrode right in the middle here inside the inner tube, and it's producing a xenon discharge down here, and that xenon produces a lot of UV, and UV is exciting up this green phosphor. And this is about a 12-inch diameter piece of glass. This is about the biggest we can make these pieces, and it's quite a difficult piece to make. You need a very, very large lathe to put this together. The base is made by a brilliant designer friend of mine, Richard Burbage Design. Really cool steampunk base he's made out of all sorts of found pieces, from parts of stoves, old lighting controls, non-functional gauges, whatnot. So, moving on, show you a new effect. It's about a year old now, and this is called a Tulpa Tube, and this is kind of a different type of gas discharge. I'm slowly turning the power up here, and it's very, very interactive, as you can see when I put my hand down on it. And we make these in a whole wide variety of colors and activities and whatnot. Kind of like it running a very minimal amount of power. It produces these little spikes. You can tune it way, way down to there's just a few of them dancing around there. Or way up. This is I believe an 8-inch diameter piece of glass, about 6-7 feet long. And the way it works is a stretched wire from end to end, and so the discharge is not going from end to end like most pieces. It's going from that center wire outward. All right. So moving on, okay, this piece here is right out of Dr. Frankenstein's movie. It's a Jacob's Ladder, but it's Jacob's Ladder completely enclosed and totally safe, and also much brighter than your average Jacob's Ladder. This is probably the only blue Jacob's Ladder you've ever seen, because it's only one of 2 in the world. It's got a blue gas discharge, and that comes from krypton and iodine. And very controllable with my electronics. I can control the length of this, the time the thing goes up and holds up at the top. And we've made these up to 4 feet long, but they get a little difficult in shipping. So I'm starting to make them wider and shorter. All right, let's go to back to my table over here. So I'll show you a few other pieces from our archives, the part of our shop what we call this is where sculpture goes to die. So this is a smaller Mesmer Tube. I discovered this almost by accident. I'll show you how I originally thought this was going to light up. Very frenetic like this, which is okay, but it's a little bit tough to live with because it's so fast. And I discovered if I put what's called a virtual ground on it, it slows it down. It makes a nice undulating effect. Once again, this is a tube within a tube, and I've been making a series of paintings, 3-dimensional paintings, using my own using phosphors to make my own set of paints, and I spend a good deal of time picking the colors that go well next to each other. By doing experiments. The problem is you have to do these experiments under ultraviolet light, because when all these tubes are off, all the phosphors look white. We call them Mesmer tubes because if you put this on a table with a group of people, after 5 minutes, they just sit there completely transfixed, because it's a property of the human mind. If you give them something random and bright, the mind becomes transfixed trying to figure out the pattern. If this had any kind of pattern to it that you could discern, you would instantly lose interest, but it doesn't. Completely random. And I'm interacting with it. I'm drawing the arc towards my hand. A lot of the pieces I make are fully interactive. The field is going out. Let's see if I can make this light or not. Make it light a little bit. So I'm interacting with the field and drawing the arc. All right, moving on here. Piece next to it, part of a series I did a while back. This was my favorite. This is called Crush, Kill, Destroy. It's a flameworked robot, sort of a compilation of a few robots from 1950s and 60s sci-fi. And the electrode, so to speak, is the body of the robot is silver plated on the inside, and his little antenna up here, those are platinum coated, so they're conductive as well. So the whole thing becomes we call it a capacitive electrode. And the title comes, Crush, Kill, Destroy, comes from a 60s sci-fi movie where the robot, that's all the robot said was crush, kill, destroy. Unfortunately, none of the pieces in this series do I consider shippable. Here's a piece I made when I went up to Corning last year, and actually I was taking a class from my friend Emilio Santini, and I wanted to bring one of my little light up devices to show the class. And so this is one of those Tulpa tubes, but made in a short fat version. This started out life as a Pyrex jar. I just domed the bottom for vacuum purposes and put a wire through it. And as you can see, this produces a green discharge, and with certain power supplies it can make those whirl like whirling dervishes in there. They start whirling one way and then they go back the other way. And again, it's very, very interactive. You can make these as long as you want because it's not trying to produce an arc from end to end. It's just going from the middle to the outside. So the voltage doesn't have to be very great at all. And adjusting the power on these things really can play and create just one or two of these things. Makes sort of like a plasma flower in midair. I'm just slowly turning the power up or down. Okay, let's move over to a couple other pieces here. Something I love to make, because it's so freeing, is to make trees. All made with a hand torch, and make them from this size or up to as big as you like. So this is a willow tree that I made, and this is filled with krypton gas. And I've made these up to almost 8 feet tall. But for the demo, I pulled out a short one here. I want to show you another one right next to it here. I actually made a series of these. This is the smallest one for my annual Christmas party. Now these are much brighter because I've come up with a technique of coating the inside with green phosphor. And now I can make trees of any size, any color combination I want. And these run really, really efficiently. Matter of fact, these could be run on solar-powered batteries. This has xenon gas in it. Once again, because xenon, very, very easy to light, and it produces a lot of UV to activate that phosphor. Slowly turn the power supply down and up. All right, I'm going to move around to the other side of the table here. Let's see. This I left on the table because it's in order, just about ready to go out. This is a Crackle Tube. We make a lot of these. This is a 6-inch diameter by 4 feet long, double-walled tube. And in the annular space between the two tubes are glass beads that are coated with a blue phosphor. And then a high-frequency power supply that's got a little circuit that alters the speed of the lightning. So you can go up to really fast or slow it down. So, those of you who are electrically minded, this is only using about 10 watts of energy. Hardly knows it's on. You could run it with a couple flashlight batteries. We make a lot of big towers in amusement parks out of these Crackle tubes, where they might put 100, 125 tubes up the side of a tower. The last effect, sort of saved to the end to show you something that's really a fun piece that I just made this year, sort of as a challenge by a customer, and it's called a spiraling tube. And I'm going to turn it on. It takes a moment to develop, so Carrie will film this as this discharge. We're actually bending light here. Watch it. This is actually taking a gas discharge and bending it. As you can see, as it gets towards the top, you have almost a perfect spiral. Except if you bring a magnet anywhere near it, you can play games with the discharge. And it'll tend to recover, start making a spiral again. Now here's an effect that baffles my physicist friends. I'm going to let it reestablish here. Get a full spiral. And I'm just going to make, you can see it rising up. I'm going to turn the power down. Eventually, get to a point where it virtually stops. Virtually stopping light dead like that. And I'll turn it back up. So this is a effect of high voltage and magnetic forces, thermal forces, the exact right gas pressure, all working together. This piece has to be vertical to operate, and like I say, just bringing a magnet, I'm not within 6 inches of this. This effect was roughly found by Michael Faraday back in the early 19th century. I have another one of these next to it, and I'll take a moment and I'm going to switch wires. Now this one, the tube I coated with phosphors, so I can make a somewhat of a light painting. Kind of appears as the thing climbs up the tube. And this also it's not only as an art piece, but it's a lesson in physics as well. Change polarities, you can get arcs to go in vastly different ways. show the whole thing, the whole object.